Right, this is the entrance to the original ammunitions room, which later became the wine cellar, but I'll tell you guys more about it when I'm inside. It's a very narrow passage, this. I don't know, if these guys needed to get guns in a hurry. That wouldn't be an easy thing to do. Okay, so this part was very close to the sea, and they kept their guns in here. And unfortunately, because the water actually got into this room, they dug a hole here, 10 meters deep, to flush out some of the water. But the ammunition kept getting wet. Also, if you close this door and leave yourself in here 12 hours and you're out of air, because there's no airflow in here whatsoever. So because the ammunition kept getting wet, they actually took it out of here, and this became a wine cellar later on. They thought this was the dungeon originally, but the dungeon is actually right next to the torture room, and I'm going to show you guys that next. Okay, before we get to the dungeon and the torture room, they then moved the ammunition and the weapons here, and the reason it was painted red is because red was the color to signify where ammunitions and weapons were kept, as well as, you know, it's a danger color. We've learned about that in nature as well. Hence the red hourglass on the side of the underside of a black widow. These stairs, of course, lead up to the castle walls again, but we'll go there later, and off we go to the torture room. So the torture room is located behind those stairs over there, but this is the second courtyard at the back of the castle. This is the other side of the bakkes that I showed you guys earlier. And of course, the beautiful mountain. Not a lot of people here today. There were way more people here last time I was here. Also, it was a lot noisier. I don't know what this is for. I don't think it's part of anything, really. So here we are, torture room. Now, the torture room is an interesting one. So, it was very small. Firstly, there were many ways they would torture people here. This is where you would read your things and ask your questions, you know, your interrogation. People were kept in the stocks over there and made to watch as people were hanging from here. So they would tie your hands behind your back, hook you up by your feet on this hook. And this floor originally was made out of apricot pits. So it had little bumps all over. What they would do then is, if they can't get a confession out of you, is they would loosen this rope and drop you head first onto the floor, then pull you up again. Then, if that didn't succeed, they would hit you with this. Now, on the tips of this would be metal pieces. And those metal pieces would literally rip pieces of flesh out. So they would give you anywhere from 40 to 120 hits with this thing. And people were forced to watch from the stocks, and that would wring a confession out of some people at some point. Then the dungeon was right next to the torture room, so that while you're here in solitary confinement, this room would be pitch black. There was no light let in. There's a small window up there that they opened only at night for some fresh air to come in. But basically, when you're in here, you were kept in the dark and not allowed to actually see anything. Just hear the screams from the torches next door. What a crappy way to be here. And then if you were let out, you were executed or hung outside the castle. Okay, I just gave a bit of a history lesson to some tourists as well. I think they enjoyed it. They thanked me very much and asked me if I have any historical interests. I actually do. I love history, even the myth of Atlantis, the ancient Egyptians, and so on. So I'm walking into the middle section of the castle now. I'll record some more stuff now. Okay, so the floorway here is made out of wood. And the reason it's made out of wood is because the governor's room was above. And the horses needed to come through here to get to where they kept the wagons and the stables over here. And he didn't like the noise that the floor made, so he had the slaves put in this wood to make it a bit more quiet. And then over there you'll see there's an entrance to the original well, which I'll record in a second. Okay, so the well. The well is the center point of the castle, and from here the 5 points were actually drawn out all the way so they could actually create the castle from that. The pump is still inside, but it's not connected. This is the pump that they use to get the water. The well is 8 meters deep. I see we have no electricity here now. Anyway, let me see what I can do here. There's a step. Let me see if I can turn the flash on. Okay, so there's the well. This was the first water point to the castle, but there's many other channels on the inside of the castle where water also came from, but this was the first one. Okay, now we're going to head up those steps there, and then I can show you guys what it looked like from the wall and how much land has been reclaimed by the Dutch from where the street is and where the beach used to be. Quite a steep climb this. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a section of the wall that leads up to Katsen-Ellenbogen. There's steps here where people obviously would be with guns if there was a problem. But in its entire history, this place was never ever attacked. Never.